So I just watched a short YouTube series on an older game of someone talking about why they cut off all their day ones, and it really made me think about all my day ones and how already knew that I was in a really rare situation, how I've been in maintaining a good relationship status with like all of my day ones for the most part, and not just like knowing the people that I grew up with, but like actually still having my core friend group together. One of us just got married recently. I was actually the best man at his wedding, being the godfather of one of their kids, and just hanging out and still spending time with each other on a regular basis. And I can get into the development of our relationship and how things kind of evolved in another video, but I didn't know that people cutting up their day ones was so regular. I know that people grow out of situations, and proximity makes us have to grow up and hang around other people when we get different jobs or just different anything. But I didn't know that like there was such an intentional cutting off, a ghosting, a separation of sorts from people that you used to spend so much time with. And I can understand why. You either grow different and become interested in different things as people as you get older and as your personality develops. And then in the more common case of what I'm seeing so far is that people make really bad friends, like people who just don't do good things for themselves or others around them, people that don't care about practically anything, including the relationships that they have with people, being a bad friend and liking to see the people around you in unfortunate circumstances and situations. And Avery talked about that in his video, about how some of the people around him literally would like egg them on to like go and do stupid things, and then go and talk trash about them for some type of social capital in other friend groups. And while I have like seen that, I went to high school, that's the type of stuff kids do in high school. I mainly saw that a lot with like girls, but at the same time I wasn't like in any type of in crowd in high school to know like exactly people's drama. Like there was like the more like global, all around the school drama, where it's like everybody would know about certain situations, but I wouldn't know like the more dynamic inner workings of these people's relationships and what would happen, right? And there's so many stories that I could tell. I mean, I don't really have that type of channel. I don't really want to have that type of channel where I'm telling like old stories about things that happened to other people that I had nothing to do with, that didn't teach me any kind of lesson. But it is just interesting to like remember and think about. But with all that being said, my core friend group, starting from, let me see, 2010 was going on 16 years ago. Yeah, my core friend group from 16 years ago still going strong to this day. Of course, people came in and we built the group over time, and there might have been a couple people that ended up like falling out of it, but there was never any like super huge like, oh my goodness, he went and did this to his sister and now they fell out, or they had a fight, or it was never like anything all dramatic like that. I don't live this extreme like TV sitcom type of life where these were the type of things that were happening to me, or at least that's what I think. If I recall, I probably do have some pretty interesting stories that people might want to hear. But anyways, not the point of this video. As I've grown from my relationships throughout middle and high school, like there's always been certain things that have kept us together. And I do hear about people being stuck in nostalgia land in this side of YouTube, where people play old games, especially Modern Warfare 2, where people just think about the good old times that they were spending with the boys and how we need to get that time back. And I'm no stranger to it or whatever. You see me sitting here trick-shotting like it's 2012 and I'm trying to join FaZe. But I do think that being an adult has so many, I don't want to call them perks, but I'm not like the person that overly misses childhood because just adulthood is so sucky, and that I wish I could be a kid again because nothing is going good and positive in life. That's not really like, that's not my testimony. Specifically with my friendships, I mean, over time, we've been through like some of the worst of times with each other, where like one of us or a few of us are going through like some really like life changing detrimental stuff, and the rest of us are for the most part just kind of like here for each other. Oh, check out this cool little trick shot, by the way. Thought this was pretty cool. I asked him if he wanted the clip. He said he didn't want it. Well, buddy, it's going in my video. Anyways, one thing I will say about like high school relationships is that because most of us went to the same school, we did spend a bunch of time around each other via proximity. What we're doing after school, most of the time it was like, okay, whoever is putting money up for the weed for us to smoke, okay, we're gonna like go and chill with them. And then, the next day it would be somebody else, or, maybe next week one of us like had a job and they got paid and they're the ones putting up for the weed or whatever. But like, that was kind of the extent of it. At the time, we did have like some older friends that had graduated from high school at that point. They had a crib that was nearby like the school where we could go and chill. And if it was too cold outside, we could go and smoke over there, spend time playing the game or just talking, rapping, whatever, right? And that's kind of where I realized like, oh, I am not in the premier type of like environment that I want to be in moving forward. Not that I just need to separate myself right then and there, but it's like I do like the people that I'm with, but I don't necessarily think that the way we do things and how we hang out and our nature of hanging out is really sustainable. So from that moment, I kind of tried to find a way to be more intentional about spending time with my friends and how we could maintain a relationship. And this is around the time I'm like 18, and then like by the time I started putting things into real effect, I was already like 19 and beyond at that point. Now, one of my friends had started throwing parties in a nearby neighborhood, and he's throwing college parties or whatever. And we still have the main friend group. We all graduated or left high school, but the core of that friend group, the one that we're all still good today, that was kind of who stuck around. Everyone from high school faded off at this point, but these parties, they were something special for him and his like crew that were throwing parties. It was simply just a way to make money. Yeah, you could be hanging out and doing whatever, but like it was a money play. I had a job and I was in school at that point. So I already had like my thing. I didn't come to every party. I was busy a lot, but it was a way for us to continue to spend time with one another. We would do our stuff during the day. Whoever else was like busy and had stuff going on, had the jobs or whatever. And this was how he would, get himself through and get himself by, would be throwing, preparing throughout the week and then throwing these parties on the weekend. And we would all hang out. And from there, it was like, okay, this kind of works for a while. I'm in college. I got a car by this point, like halfway through there. And it was really a good setup. I'm not going to lie. But as that kind of like age group grew up a bit and the party started to fade out some, it was like, how can we continue on with developing our relationships? And at this point is where I kind of got that as a teenager, you are friends by proximity, same neighborhood, same school. If you have a job, same job or same sports team. But as you become an adult, you will make new friends. But if you want to maintain those relationships, you must create new spaces for those friendships to grow. So I would do little things like, okay, if there's some type of money making opportunity, like just being 19 or 20 at the time, yo bro, I'm about to go do Uber Eats or go do some DoorDash orders. You want to come with? And then it'll be cool. Well, I'm not really wasting time hanging around because I'm making money and he's my friend, whichever friend is like already did their stuff for the day, and they could kind of, just come along and we would chill and hang out and do all the things that friends do at, in the constraints of like driving around and everything. And this lasted for a while. I would be with different friends and we would talk, or, oh, it was one of our birthdays, we're going to go out and hang, or whether it was like hanging in the house because stuff outside was kind of like dicey at that point, or even during COVID where it's like, okay, we can't go and hang out and go to like lounges or like outside stuff, but we do have the time where people aren't working where we can kind of just hang around each other. And then like post pandemic stuff, that's where I got the bright idea. Yo, I'm actually kind of isolating myself from my friends because I don't just hang out just for the sake of hanging out anymore. But I did, like I said, come up with the bright idea. Okay, what are some of the things that I already like to do solo? Well, I do care about my health. I do care about like things like going to the gym or eating clean and, making, things that are good for my creative brain. What if I found a way to incorporate this? Perfect. Everybody has that gym bro that they meet and then they, go and be gym bros together. But what if I curate my circle around that, or at least part of my circle? Anyone that's interested in working out, those are now the gym bros. My actual bros to this day are my gym bros. Okay, well, not everybody likes to go and lift weights. But what about running? I found out during 2020 that I like going for runs. Now I have people that I can go to the gym with. I have people that I can run with. Oh, well, other than that, that is cool and all, but everybody's not into that type of stuff. Well, what about people that we like to have good conversation around policy, political and societal norms, and have good conversation around that? Okay, that's a good outlet for my mind, not just my body. So just making time and space for things that I was already probably going to do by myself, and they're probably already doing by themselves. Or maybe if they're not into that type of stuff by themselves, now they have a reason to go to the gym, a reason to get around discourse and starting to articulate yourself better, or at least, if not better, having people to articulate yourself too. And this was the core principle of just maintaining and developing my adult relationships and how we're all still cool. People grow up and they get married and they have kids and they do all the things. Now we don't just have like the bros from 2016. We have a community, a family. The kids are a reason that people come around now. We all call each other's sons and daughters, our nieces and nephews, and now we're uncles and everything like that. And I think that this actually is sustainable to a point where, 15 years from now, we can still do these type of things and have those good old days with the bros that, although the times change, they never go away. And I don't know if other people have got onto this, like at mass, at least people my age, the mid-20s range. But if you did, then great. But if not, this is something serious to think about. If you want to have those times with the bros, or if you're not there yet and you're thinking like, oh, I'm like 17 or 19 and I want to continue to have good times with the bros, find ways to make good times with the bros evolve over time. And as long as it's good and safe fun, something that you can continue to do, it will be sustainable. Maybe some people fade out, or maybe some people aren't interested, or maybe new people join on in, but you can maintain a core friend group this way. And my friend group is literally the proof that as long as you're doing something that can continue to be done over time, you guys don't have to fall off and fade away, and you don't have to drop your day ones just because you live in America. So again, those videos were entertaining. Thanks for the inspo for this quick vid that I'm doing all in one take because it's fresh on my mind and I'm just thinking about it, and this is pure. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is how you maintain a friend group throughout your adulthood and don't have to cut off all the day ones.